Hello, welcome to our channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some stuff you might find interesting, and of course I have a dream to share with y'all. Maybe two dreams actually. And yeah, let's get into the video. So I'm here to talk about VRH, virtual reality helmets. I would like to mention before we continue that I'm just a normal 17-year-old who happens to have dreams from God. And yeah, so let's continue. So like I was saying, today I'm here to talk about virtual reality helmets because I've been having dreams about them, and I feel like God is warning me that these virtual reality helmets, it's kind of hard to say, we can just call them VRH for short, virtual reality helmets, he has been showing me and stuff that these helmets aren't good. And I know they recently just came out with a new one, but I know they're super expensive. It's like $4,000. I think Apple might be the one promoting it. I don't even know, but I know it's like really expensive. But all I know, God has been like warning me and showing me. He's like, these helmets are not good. So I had a dream, which I thought maybe it was just a random nonsense dream. But now I'm starting to, because like if you have one dream, you can call it a random nonsense dream. But when you start to have like 2 or 3 different dreams that are all like kind of about the same thing, then that's when you kind of start thinking, this might be God warning me ahead of time that this is something that I need to be worried about. So this is what God has been pretty much showing me. I have a couple of dreams that I'm going to tell you that I've had based off the virtual reality helmets. So let's get into it. So this was a dream that I had. I had this dream like a month ago. I would say maybe a month ago. It wasn't that long ago when I had this dream, but maybe a month ago. And this dream was about virtual reality helmets, which this dream is already on my channel. It's on the random dream video I made because I didn't think anything of it and I thought it was just a random dream. But now since I started having more dreams about the virtual reality helmet, I'm starting to think that it could be something. So I'll tell that dream too. So I'm going to start off with the dream I had a month ago because I feel like I had that one first. So I'm going to tell that one first. So this dream I had, I was at a lab. Yeah, a lab. And what I was supposed to be doing, I was supposed to be testing out one of the first virtual reality helmets. This wasn't the first one ever, but it was like up there. So what the goal of it was is that I was going to put the virtual reality helmet on, and they were supposed to trick me into thinking it was reality. Yeah, that was the whole thing. They were just going to see if they could trick a person into believing that while having the helmet on, that it was actually reality and they weren't wearing the helmet. Yeah, freaky. I would just say, that sounds so freaky. Like, I want to be in the real world, not some, mask or whatever that's just making me see things. Like, that just sounds freaky in my opinion. I wouldn't want to think that a fake world is reality just to find out it's not, That's really scary. So, like I was saying, let's continue my dream. So, yeah, that's what I was there for. I was testing this helmet to see if they could trick me into thinking it was reality. So, I'm there, and there's like a scientist, and they're like, so are you ready? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And I was just like telling them, I don't think you're going to make me believe this is reality. I'm like, there's like almost no way, That's what I was telling them. So I put the helmet on, and I'm in a boxing match. And this is something to know, I'm not really into boxing. Like, I've never been to a boxing match or anything, really. I mean, unless you count, like, my nephews and stuff fighting. Oh, also, if you're hearing noise in the background, my family's here, and my nephew's here. It's a bit crazy. But if you're hearing any noise in the background, it's probably just them, because they like to run around. But yeah, let me continue the dream. Like I said, I put it on and I was in a boxing match. Like I was saying, I don't really box, so kind of random that would be there. So I'm in this boxing match, and I'm like, at this point, I still knew I was wearing the helmet. So I'm like, man, they're not going to be able to trick me because I don't go to boxing matches. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, they're not going to be able to trick me because I don't go to boxing matches. So I end up leaving the boxing match, and I go outside, and I see the lab that I was at, and I see, like, it has exploded, and there's, like, these weird creatures coming out of it. Yeah, weird creatures. These creatures, I guess you can call them aliens, but they were weird creatures coming out of this lab. And I see my sister, and she's there, and I'm like, what are you doing here? She was like, these weird creatures started coming out of the lab, and that's all she really said. And then I started running off, because she had a weapon. I didn't. So she told me just run for it, just run, because she was like, just run, because they didn't know really what these monsters did. She didn't know if they're like zombies or what. They just knew that they were hunting us down. So I start running, and I'm running, and then I see a different sister. This is a different sister. And she's there, and I'm like, what are you doing here? She was like, I was at the lab with you because while you were doing the test, you had to stay at the lab, and Mom didn't want you by yourself, so I was staying at the lab with you. And she said I ran away from the lab, and when the aliens started coming out of them. And I was like, well, we need to find shelter. And then that's when I realized, in my dream, I was like, oh no, I'm still wearing the helmet set, aren't I? That's when I realized, oh, I'm still wearing the helmet set, aren't I? So I see like a screen appear, and it said, do you want to exit? And I clicked, of course, yes, and I take the helmet off. And I'm like, this whole time I was trying to protect my family, trying to find a fort and stuff for us to live in. It was all just fake. And the scientist, like, girl walked up to me, and she's like, yeah, it was completely fake. They were like, you were working to protect a fake family. And I was like so mad. I remember I was like so mad when I took the helmet off because I really thought that was reality. Like, I really thought that was reality. Like, I really, really did. And I was just like so mad finding out this whole time I was taking care of my family and all this, that it was all fake, that there was no alien invasion, that it was all fake. And I was just like really mad when I took those helmet off. That was the whole dream. And I feel like that dream was very interesting because, oh, I forgot to mention that in the dream she did shake my hand, I think. I believe the scientist shook my hand. And she was like, yeah, you passed. I remember her saying that. She was like, yeah, you passed. Because the whole goal was to trick someone into believing that was reality. And it worked. I like truly believed that was reality. Really weird dream. And that was like the first one I had. And I didn't really think anything of it until I had another dream, which I'm about to probably tell y'all, which is very interesting. And I feel like God is warning me that these headsets are evil. I mean, you can have your own opinion about them. I'm not saying that 100% they're bad, but God's been like warning me, and I know that I really truly have got dreams from God. I really feel like I do. And you can have your own opinion, but God's been like warning me that they're bad. So I'm going to tell you the other dream I had, because I feel like this has a significant thing about it in it. So, this dream, I was in a high school, and I was in this high school, and I had like I had a boyfriend with me. Just know I don't have a boyfriend in real life, but in this dream I did for some reason. So I had my boyfriend with me, and there was a photo booth. And so I take my boyfriend, and I like put him in the photo booth. I'm like, hey, we should get our pictures taken. And I decide, I'm like, we should spray paint this photo booth because I thought that'd be really fun. So I start spray painting the photo booth, and then like an icon pops above my head, and it's like art. So if you don't know, I do like art. I like doing art. I like painting and stuff. So, like I said, in my dream, an icon popped like above my head, and it was like a picture of like a spray can. And I realized I was in a virtual reality. Yeah, I realized I was in a virtual reality. Like, this wasn't the actual world. Like, this was a virtual reality. So, it was like the world, this was like, in this dream, I feel like this God showed me the future. He wasn't showing me the present time, he was showing me like the future, I feel like. So, I was there, and, like I said, the icon popped up on my head, and it was like a spray can. And it was like I unlocked like art, if that makes sense. If this makes sense. It will make more sense the more I tell the dream. So, apparently, you each had like 5 skills. So, I'm going to say it was like the world was dumbed down. Like, we were a lot dumber than we used to be, if this makes any sense. It was like, I don't really know how to explain it, but it was just like for some reason we were a lot dumber than we used to be. I don't really know how else to put it. It was just like we were a lot dumber. And, it was like we each had 5 talents. And the way, it was like with the headset on, they could scan your brain. And by scanning your brain, they could tell, like, if, like, how do I explain this? I'm trying to explain it so y'all understand. It was like, they could tell when you're really passionate about doing something. Like, if you ever watch SpongeBob, and you know he's really passionate about fry cooking, it was like they could read your brain waves, and they could tell that you're really passionate about doing something. And when they knew by science and different things, they knew if you're really passionate about doing something, that you'll be better at it than a person that's not interested in that. So, in my dream, that's why I got the achievement of art, because they could tell I was really passionate about it, and they knew that a person that's passionate about it will do it a lot better than a person that isn't. So, it was like you could have up to like 5 talents. And, like, you could have more, but it was, like, really rare where people would have more than 5 talents, because it was, like, we were, like, dumbed down, like, a lot. Like, it was weird. I don't really know what else to say. It was like we were dumbed down a lot. And it was really rare for you to have more than 5. Like, if you had more than 5, it was like you're really special. So, I see this kid walking, and he's like, looks sad. Like, he's like sad. So, in this reality, it was like this virtual reality. It was okay to date animals. Really weird, because I know lately they've been promoting dating animals, which, in my opinion, is clearly against God. Clearly. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying, just my opinion. But, yeah. So, I see this boy, and he's like really sad, and I'm like, why are you so sad? And he's like, okay, so in this virtual reality, it's like they could tell who your soulmate was. It was so like, this is creepy, like, because this is what they want to do, but it's creepy. It's like they could tell if you truly love somebody by like just like wearing the headset. They could scan like your emotions and everything, so they knew if you truly loved someone. So, I see this boy and he's like really sad, and I'm like, why are you so sad? He's like, I found out who my soulmate is, and I'm like, well, who's your soulmate? And he's like, my soulmate is a jaguar. Yeah, a jaguar. So in this virtual reality, it was like the animals could talk our language. And I was like, well, do you truly love her? That's what I asked him. I was like, well, do you truly love her? He was like, yeah, I truly do love her, like with all my heart. But I'm like, my parents aren't going to understand. Because it was like these animals weren't real. Because, of course, they're talking and stuff. They were computers. But like it was like these animals could talk in English, but they were computers. They weren't real actual animals. They were computers. And he was just telling me that he was really upset because he's like, my family's not going to understand because they don't really get this whole virtual reality. And he was saying that they would rather me date a wild animal that couldn't speak than this fake computer that talks. That's what he was saying. He was like, they would rather me date an actual real life jaguar that can't talk than rather me date this virtual animal that's not even real. But he's like, I do truly love her. And he was really upset about it. And then in my dream, I like took off the virtual reality helmet, and I saw this what God like showed me. I saw the world was like desolate. Like, have you ever seen the movie WALL-E? It was like the world was like that. Like there was no grass. Like the world was just like it was like no one like everyone was just so obsessed with the virtual reality helmet that like nobody. It was like we had to like start from scratch. It was like you just got the world and like you had to start from scratch. So in my dream, like I said, I took the virtual reality helmet off, and I saw that the world was like destroyed. I could see that the world was like destroyed. It was like we would have to start from scratch, like back in Bible times. Like we would have to grow our own food, this and that. It was like the world was destroyed. Like if you ever seen the movie WALL-E, like that. Like it was bad. It was like everyone just came so obsessed with these virtual reality helmets that they forgot about Earth. They forgot to take care of it. It was really like just sad. And God was showing this to me, and that was pretty much the whole dream. But what I'm about to tell you, now, I did not see this in my dream. No. I'm not saying this is true. No. This is just an idea of mine, and I really felt heavy of this in my dream. And I feel like I really felt like this is what God was trying to indicate to me. So, yes, that was the end of the dream, but I really feel like this is what God was indicating to me. This is a big stretch. I mean, believe it, don't believe it. I really do feel like my dreams are from God, and what He tells me is true. So I believe that was God showing me that what's going to happen. He was showing me the future. He was showing me that we're going to get so hooked on these helmets because they're already promoting them. And they're going to make them, they're trying to make them to where they're affordable for people like us. Because right now, who has $4,000 they can spend on a headset? Pretty much no one. But they're going to try to make them to where we can afford them. And I feel like it could be that bad. Like it could be like we get so obsessed with them that we forget about Earth and everything. In my dream, He was showing me that. And He was showing me that in the virtual world that you'll be able to talk to animals, you'll be able to date them and this and that. And that could be another attraction that gets people into them. Because they're going to be like, I've never been able to talk to an animal before. But in reality, it's not an animal at all. It's just a fake computer you're talking to. And He was just showing me, I feel like He was really showing me the future. He was showing me that these headsets are going to become like a really big deal, that Earth is going to get so destroyed. And it's going to be like, we're going to have to restart from scratch. And He was showing me that, like, what's going to happen. He was like, we're going to get these headsets, and we're going to become, like, super obsessed with them. And then, eventually, after some time, we're going to realize that, like, this isn't right. Like, we shouldn't be in a fake world. We should be working on the actual world, not a fake one. And by that time, the world's going to be, like, destroyed. And then I feel like this is what He was, like, basically saying to me. He's like, then the Antichrist is going to show up. He was, like, telling me, he's like, the Antichrist is going to show up. The Antichrist is going to show up. And He was, like, kind of, like, telling me, he's like, yeah, there's going to be a point where we find out that we want to be in the real world. We don't want a fake world. But at that time, the world's going to be already destroyed. So we're going to have to, like, restart from scratch. Like, we're going to be, like, farming and stuff like back in, like, Bible times. And then I feel like he was showing me that's when Antichrist is going to show up. Like, that's when Antichrist is going to show up. And he's going to try to, like, rebuild Earth and say he can do it and everything. And try to say he can help rebuild Earth. And he can make it how it used to be. But in reality, he's going to be the false god. I'm not saying you have to agree with me. That's just my opinion. But it sounds like that could be a real thing that can actually happen. I mean, lately I've been having dreams where God shows me the future. Of course, even if I plan to share all my dreams, but like I said, lately I've just been having dreams where he shows me the future. And I'm like, if that's what it's going to be like, that's what it's going to be like. I mean, that's going to be really sad. I mean, that could be a couple generations down. I feel like for the next generation is what I'm more concerned about, because they're starting to give those virtual reality helmets out, of course. And I just feel like that could be a real possibility. They could start trying to just shove these virtual reality helmets in our kids' faces and stuff, and we think that it's just a virtual reality helmet, but it could turn into something so much more. Like in my dream, like how people were dating animals that could talk, but they weren't even dating real animals. They were dating computers. They were just masquerading as animals. And I'm just here to warn y'all. I'm like, be careful about these virtual reality helmets, because I've been getting warnings from God saying that they're not good. And I just really hope that you like are considering this. I don't think this video found you by mistake. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong. I'm just going based off my dreams and what I know, what the Bible tells me, what God likes and doesn't like. But I'm like, this is just my opinion. I'm just a normal 17-year-old girl that God gives dreams to, and it's just like, it's like insane. So, I guess bye for now, and I hope you enjoyed my video, and I guess take this to heart, and I'm just here to like tell you, like, I don't think these helmets are that good as they claim to be. And I guess bye for now.